Hello, health enthusiasts. I'm your host and your health coach, Kaviria. Thank you for tuning into my podcast, Unlocking the Pathway to a Healthy Lifestyle. We welcome you to another episode where here we're going to explore the world of nutrition. The nutrition facts label is a small yet powerful tool found on the back of every food package. I presented this talk to an organization in Indiana a little while ago, and now, I've decided that I needed to share it again, this time with the world. Join me as I unravel the secrets behind those numbers, percentages, and serving sizes, and learn how to navigate the label to make informed and healthier choices. Today in front of me, I have chips, can of soda, can of soup, and an energy drink. So let's sit back, enjoy this journey as we embark on understanding the food that we eat. Did you know that the FDA revised the nutrition facts label? This decision took place back in 2016 and it was implemented or became effective in the year 2021. Now we're in 2023 and I've noticed that a lot of the companies did make the necessary changes. Those changes are vastly important for us to be able to better understand what it is that we're consuming. Now, some of the changes that took place were they actually made the amount of calories in the item larger, because obviously that's important. We want to know how many calories we're consuming, especially if we're one of the people that, or one of the persons that count calories. Do you count calories or if you even count macros? Either way, that number is important. They've also removed calories from fat. They recognized that number wasn't necessarily important. They updated the percentage daily values. They adjusted that number to match the actual serving size. So say for instance, a serving size of ice cream used to be a quarter cup. Now it's 2/3 cup. So they actually made that daily serving size that match that number. They included added sugars. Now, when we talk about the sugar or the carbohydrates and we notice the added sugars, I'll let you know why that is important. They updated the vitamins and minerals. Vitamin A and vitamin C are optional, and they also updated the footnote. Now, when I pick up this can of soup, it says the footnote reads, the percent daily value tells you how much a nutrient in a serving of food contributes to a daily diet. 2,000 calories a day is used for general nutrition advice. So what that necessarily means is that the average person consumes 2,000 calories per day. What's on the back of the nutrition facts label represents what a person will consume if they followed a diet that consisted of 2,000 calories per day. Speaking of can of soup, let's recognize the changes. This can of soup has per cup and also has per can. The serving size is one container. So the food package that contains one or two serving sizes will now count the entire container as one serving, because people will typically consume the entire container or package in one sitting. Speaking of ice cream, the information has been realistically updated. So the original serving size for 1 pint was 4 servings. That included a half a cup of 200 calories. Now the new serving size for ice cream is 2/3 cup, and that's 270 calories. So the amount of calories and the percent daily value numbers were updated to reflect the amount of calories per that serving. The servings change. Research shows that people will eat 2/3 cup of ice cream from 1 pint versus a quarter cup. Therefore, that individual will be consuming 270 calories versus 200 calories. Package size oftentimes affect how much people eat and or drink at a given time. You're likely to drink from the entire container in one sitting. Now let's look at an energy drink versus a bottle of soda. Here I have a Red Bull and I have a Coca-Cola. The Red Bull is about 8.4 fluid ounces and the Coca-Cola is about 20 fluid ounces. Both of these are considered one serving size. Both of these also have different amount of calories, different amount of added sugars, different amount of every ingredient that's in here, but they're still considered one serving size. So when we're looking at the bottle of soda, we're looking at having a total of 240 calories. When we're looking at the energy drink, we're looking at about a total of 110 calories. But that's not all. Remember when I said that they have to include the added sugars? Well, each of these drinks have added sugar. This bottle of soda has 65 grams of added sugar. This can of energy drink has 26 grams of added sugar. An increased amount of added sugar contributes to our waistline, contributes to our insulin levels, problems with our gut, failure in gut health, mood, irritability, fatigue, etc. We really want to make sure we pay attention to the added sugars. In order to understand the nutrition facts label, or in order to get a grasp on utilizing the nutrition facts label, we have to practice mindfulness. So we want to understand mindful eating. We want to understand calories, macronutrients, and micronutrients, all three of which will contribute to us living a healthier lifestyle. It will contribute to us performing better, having better cognitive function, because we are consuming what our body realistically needs. So what is mindful eating? First of all, what is mindfulness? Personally, I grew up hearing the word mindful from my father. Be mindful. I'm in Afghanistan. Be mindful. I'm in college. Be mindful. It wasn't really until I started practicing yoga and meditating that I truly understood the definition of being mindful. Meaning you are present. You are intuitive with your thinking, with your body. Now when it comes to eating, being mindful eating, we are conscious and aware of what we are consuming, what we're putting into our bodies, and its intention. We are mindful thinking, ultimately, just being conscious in our decision making. Now, here are some tips to consider when it comes to food consumption. And with these tips, we're going to thoroughly understand the back of the nutrition label. Serving size and calories. They made this label, or they made calories larger because, like I said, it's important for those who are counting calories. And those who are counting calories have to recognize how many calories do you need to consume per day. If you do not know how many calories you should be consuming per day, there is a formula. And this formula takes into account gender, age, weight, height, and your activity level. These are all different amongst everyone. However, the average is 2,000. What you personally should be consuming per day is different per your body type. Now, with this formula, let's take out a piece of paper and a pencil and let's write this down. I will give you the formula for both men and women. Now, let's start with females. An adult female, the formula is 655 plus, in parentheses, 4.3 times your body weight in kilograms, plus, in parentheses, 4.7 times height in centimeters, minus, in parentheses, 4.7 times age in years, and that equals your BMR. Let's do adult male. It's 66 plus, in parentheses, 6.3 times your body weight in kilograms, plus, in parentheses, 12.9 times height in centimeters, minus, in parentheses, 6.8 times age in years. And that will also give you the BMR for males. Before I get into what BMR is, let's note the conversions. 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters and 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. Now, what is BMR? I'm just throwing out initials or abbreviations. BMR stands for basal metabolic rate. Your basal metabolic rate is the rate in which you burn calories or you burn energy while at rest. And this accounts for about 60 to 70% of your daily energy burn. It does not take into account how active you are. Now, your activity level, whether you're sedentary, lightly active, moderately active, very active, or extra active, that affects also your daily calorie intake because you are burning extra calories, extra energy. Your body needs a little bit more nutrients to sustain and to function per day. Extra active is you're very hard exercising, you're a marathon runner, or you're training twice a day. And sedentary, you have little to no exercise. And there's an activity level chart with values next to those numbers. So once you find your BMR, you multiply that by your activity level. Sedentary is 1.2, for instance. Very active is 1.725. You multiply those together and that is your daily caloric intake. Some women, some men may need to consume 3,000 calories per day. Some women or men may need to consume 1,800 calories per day. It all depends on the person and your goals. Let's do a quick example. And you can try this on yourself, but while I have your attention, let's take a 40-year-old female that's 5'7", which converts to 170.18 centimeters, 145 pounds, that converts to 69.9 kilograms. That's moderately active. So that number will be, or that activity level number will be 1.55. Now let's plug those numbers into the BMR equation and we get 1,550 calories. Now, let's take her activity level, which is 1.55. She's moderately active, and we multiply that together and we get 2,403 calories per day. So this 40-year-old female needs to consume 2,403 calories per day. That might seem like a lot, especially when the average is 2,000 calories, but mind you, she is active and she is looking to maintain, and she has this consistent activity level. She exercises 2 to 3 times a week. Now with this, adjustments can be made. Say you don't work out, you can reduce the amount of calories, especially if you want to maintain your current body weight. So adjustments are made on a daily, and this again is part of being mindful. Now on the back of the nutritious facts label, we have highlighted or bolded different categories. We're going to start with the macronutrients. The macronutrients are what our body relies on for energy: total fat, total carbs, carbohydrates, and protein. Now total fat, we have good fat and we have bad fat. Good fats are our monounsaturated fats, our polyunsaturated fats. Our bad fats, those are our trans fats, and those have to be on the nutritious facts label. Now trans fat contributes to inflammation, insulin resistance, cholesterol changes, and of course our excess belly fat. And I like to say our saturated fat is neutral. Saturated fats, it increases bad cholesterol as well as it increases good cholesterol. Total carbohydrates, another bolded and important item. Our body, more specifically our brain and our red blood cells, rely on glucose for energy. Now our brain can rely on fat if we push our body into ketosis. Underneath the total carbohydrates, we have dietary fiber. Dietary fiber is great for promoting positive gut health. You know, it reduces our constipation, reduces our gas. We're able to have a constant flow to the restroom. You know, have you ever noticed that you get really irritable, you get fatigue, you get brain fog, you get pain? A lot of this stems from gut health, and dietary fiber helps alleviate those symptoms. It makes you an overall healthy and happy person. Underneath total carbohydrates, you also have total sugars and included added sugars. Now added sugars is what's been added to the process of the food, to the processing of the food. Sugars from honey, sugars from syrup, concentrated fruit or vegetables. Added sugars are not found in milk, fruits, and vegetables. Total sugars are different from added sugars. And this obviously is your overall total sugar amount. So let's take a look into a juice. If it's fully concentrated, you may see added sugars, 26 grams, etc. If it's pure, it will say total sugars is 26 grams, included added sugars 0. The daily value for added sugar is 50 grams per day based on a 2,000. Lastly, of the macronutrients we have is protein. Protein is the building blocks. Our body uses the amino acids to build and repair muscles and bones and to make hormones and enzymes. So for instance, when we're talking about enzymes, let's take the enzyme needed to digest milk, lactose. The enzyme is lactase. So amino acids from the protein is needed to build the lactase, which helps us digest, metabolize milk, whole milk. So how much of these macros do you really need? Does your body need? I'm not going to say does the average person needs, because we've already formulated and calculated the amount of calories we're consuming, or total calories we will need to consume per day. The question is, how much do I need? We'll use the same example, but you can, do this on your own now that you still have your pen and paper. The average female, the 40-year-old female that's moderately active at 145 pounds needs to consume 2,403 calories per day. So when it comes to total fat, she would have to consume 20% to 35% of the daily value. Therefore, 20% to 35% of the daily value needs to be fat. How do we know how much fat that is? 9 grams is 1 calorie of fat. 9 grams per calorie. Total carbohydrates, she would have to consume 45 to 65% per day. 4 grams of carbs equals 1 calorie. And protein, she would have to consume 10 to 35% of protein per day. 4 grams of protein equals 1 calorie. You can do the math. Micronutrients. Micronutrients are our vitamins and our minerals, and they are very essential for healthy living. Now, vitamins promote growth and reproduction and positive health. We have fat-soluble vitamins and we have water-soluble vitamins. Fat-soluble are vitamins A, D, E, and K, and water-soluble vitamins are our B vitamins and vitamin C. Have you noticed when you take B vitamins that your urine changes colors. Fat-soluble vitamins are absorbed along with fats in the diet and stored in the body's fatty tissues and in the liver. If too much of our fat-soluble vitamins are ingested, they can pose a risk to toxicity versus water-soluble vitamins are just excreted out in excess. So we do want to be cognizant of our necessary requirements for our vitamins also. Now minerals are essential, meaning our body cannot produce them. Trace minerals are needed in smaller amounts. We don't want to consume a lot of minerals in excess. They could be also toxic to our bodies. Minerals also help make enzymes and hormones. We have macro minerals, which is an example is calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, sodium. And we have trace minerals, which an example is iron, zinc, iodine, selenium, copper, etc. Two other items that are bold on the nutrition facts label is cholesterol and sodium. We want to keep our cholesterol and sodium intake low. Now our liver naturally makes the cholesterol our body needs, and both cholesterol and other fats are carried into our bloodstream. Hence why we want to keep our cholesterol levels and our cholesterol intake low. Now sodium is really hard to alleviate sodium completely from our diet. If we were to intake sodium, consume 2,300 milligrams or less, which is equivalent to 1 teaspoon per day. Now there are 3 different categories when it comes to sodium that you will potentially see on the label: salt-free, very low sodium, and low sodium. Each of these 3 categories are completely different, and they should necessarily be on the label. If it's salt-free, that means it is 5 milligrams or less. If it says very low sodium, that means it's 35 milligrams or less. And if it says low sodium, that means it's 140 milligrams or less. Now soups contain a lot of sodium. Well, soup is one of the lasting items that can last on the shelves for a very extended amount of time. It has many different preservatives in there so that it can sustain in your cabinet, in your pantry for longer than 6 months. So let's take this can of soup, Amy's Organic Soups. Now surprisingly, it says light in sodium, at least 50% less sodium than our regular soup. Light in sodium. Now let's analyze the differences as light and sodium. We're going to look at it per can. Per can, the amount of salt or sodium is 470 milligrams. This does not match any of the categories that I listed before, so this item cannot say salt-free, very low sodium, or low sodium, but it says light in sodium. Mind you, 470 milligrams of sodium per can is a lot of sodium. It's a lot of salt. Still, though, our daily caloric needs can be 2,300 milligrams or less of sodium per day. So technically, this is still a pretty decent item. Just be mindful of what else you're consuming throughout the day that will have sodium in there. Okay, daily values. Percentage daily values. Now percentage daily values are percentage values that are based on the recommended 2,000 calories per day. So dietary needs are unique to everyone, and the percent daily values help you understand nutrition information in the context of total daily diet. Say I'm on a 2,000 calorie based diet and I were to happen to eat this can of soup. Well, it has 9% per can of total fat. So I've consumed 9% of my total fat for that day with this meal. Total carbs, 13%. I've consumed 13% of my total carbs based on the 2,000 calorie diet with this can of soup. When it comes to percent daily value, there's a 5-20 rule. If it's 5% or less, it's a low amount of the nutrient. If it's 20% or higher, it's a high amount of the nutrient. We can take this bag of chips. Total fat per package, 27% daily value. So that means this item, I've reached 27% of my goal of total fat I need to consume per that day. I've already eaten 27% of my fats for that day with just one bag of chips. This Coca-Cola. Included added sugars is 65 grams. 129% daily value. With this one bottle of soda, I've consumed 129% of my daily value of added sugars. The goal is to not consume no more than 50 grams of added sugars. This has 65 grams of added sugars. Total carbs, 24% daily value. I've consumed with this one bottle of soda 24% of my daily intake of carbs. What else can I eat that day? The goal of this podcast episode is not to scare you away from food, but it's just to get you to understand what it is that you're eating and how can you put it it into action. Use the formula. Figure out how many calories you need to consume per day. Take into account your lifestyle. Are you active? Are you very active? Or are you even sedentary? And that is okay, because you're still technically burning calories while you're just roaming around and working and while you're sleeping. The point is to be aware and utilize the nutrition facts label, because that is going to be your best friend and help you live the healthy lifestyle. It's going to help you remain positive, maintain positive gut health, decrease your irritability, sleep better at night, have energy. Take the time when you're going grocery shopping and put into the cart items that are nutritious for you, items that are beneficial for you. Almonds. You will notice on the pack of almonds, it'll say monounsaturated fat, polyunsaturated fat, dietary fiber. It will have a list of the vitamins and minerals like manganese, magnesium, vitamin D in the pack of almonds. Take into account when you're looking for certain snacks or certain breakfast foods. Oatmeal. Oatmeal is hugely important. It has dietary fiber. It has great carbs in there. I'm also not saying not to consume your pop, not to consume your energy drink, but look into other options that you can drink to replace that. Carbonated water. Energy drinks like Celsius, or that doesn't have any added sugars in there. What's very important to you and your lifestyle and your livelihood is what can you consume in moderation. Consuming nutritious foods is very beneficial to everyone, helping you to sustain energy and eat the healthy fats, the healthy carbs, and the protein that are required for you to maintain. I'm Kaviria, your health coach. Thank you for tuning in to my episode on my podcast pertaining to understanding the nutrition facts label. I hope you found this information useful and will put it into good use. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, _it_won't_stop. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at Just Health 90. Also, don't forget to leave your comments and your feedback if you have any questions on the platform you are watching on. Thank you.